Franchise Secrets, Erik Von Horn.
If you're not a part of the Franchise Secrets Facebook group, what are you waiting for? It's franchisesecrets.com/Facebook. I cannot believe how valuable this group turned out to be. When someone asks a question, the feedback is honest, authentic, very helpful, and it's from multiple perspectives. If you're not sure that you're getting the most accurate information about franchising, then check out the largest, most helpful Facebook group in all of franchising. Whether you're a Z, a Zor, a buyer, or investor, join our free Facebook group at franchisesecrets.com/Facebook. Hey, this is a special episode with my friend Magen with Magnolia Soap and Bath. She's a mom, a mompreneur, a franchisee of her own brand. She's a franchisor. She's got this really cool concept that has about 30 locations right now. And we got into some of the challenges that she faced early on and how some of those things are still impacting the business. All the different types of franchisees that are actually a franchisee or looking at her brand that are part of some of the biggest and best brands out there now, and they're looking for their second or third location. She's done all of this organically while raising a family and creating an amazing culture. So we get into all kinds of cool things. You're not going to want to miss this episode with Magen with Magnolia Soap and Bath. Well, we've been waiting to do this for a while, Magen. I am super excited to have you on. You ready?
Very ready.
You were a listener to the podcast before, like we got introduced through the franchisor mastermind, and now we're doing some cool stuff together as, equity partners. And so like it's all come full circle, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We were really excited to get involved 10, 11 months ago. And just kind of grown from there. We've grown so much in our business with our franchising side, but also now as partners.
I love it. All right. So the brand Magnolia Soap and Bath. Tell me about it.
So Magnolia Soap and Bath is an experiential based retail. So we're brick and mortar. From the time you walk into our stores, you're overwhelmed with the wonderful smells, and then you've got a doorway of bubbles that you walk through. And when you walk in, it's just very colorful and bright. Lots of hands working. We've got our girls in the back that are going to be making all of our products, because all of our products are made in the stores. So when you come in, you could see someone pouring a loaf of soap, or you could see one of our girls making bath bombs. And that's just all part of the experiential based retail that we're bringing. We also do a lot of parties. We have bath bomb, soap making, candle pouring parties.
And how many franchisees do you have now?
Right now, we've got 16 franchises open, and we've got 6 more that are in development.
And how many locations around the country?
32.
All right. So, and how long have you been franchising?
Since 2020.
Okay, so newer to franchising, super strong growth for doing everything by yourself, and we'll just say organic growth, because you haven't done a lot with you haven't done anything with brokers or advertising. It's all just come organic. I want to give the audience a sense of the size of the business, because you're not the only one out there doing this. So you've got some competitors. Give us the competitive landscape, and let's start with Lush. Because I knew Lush. I used to live. I probably don't even know this, but I used to live in Europe for a while, and that's where I first was introduced to Lush. And I thought it was, I remember it. I remembered this cool brand, and I wasn't a customer, but I just remember seeing it there. So a lot of people may have heard of Lush. So what's Lush? Is that considered competition?
Absolutely. Yeah. Lush is our competition. They do a lot of big, colorful bath bombs. They are very, very well known, especially in the United States. I believe they're Canadian. I think that's true. I think that's accurate information. But I know that they don't manufacture in the store though. But they have soaps, they have, the bath bombs. They're really, really big, really growing too.
So that's one of the bigger competitors. And then there's another one that's in the franchising space. Give us a sense of who that is and their size.
Yeah, so our biggest competition in the franchise side would be Buff City Soap. They have over 100 franchises as right now.
So big. And I was, looking at I was on a call with somebody that came from the private equity world. And I realized it wasn't too long ago that they've got some big franchisees. Planet Fitness franchisees are also Buff City Soap franchisees. And so I heard that. I'm like, wow, this is a bigger opportunity with Magnolia than I originally realized. I didn't know, I didn't put the two and two together until recently. So I love that. So let's go back to the beginning. How in the world did you get started in creating this brand to begin with?
Yes, so I started in nail salons. My previous life, I was a cosmetologist, and I had nail salons, and I was making my scrubs and my lotions and things like that for the nail salon, just mainly because I didn't like anything on the market. I wanted something organic. I wanted something plant-based. I wanted it customizable, and I just couldn't find that. So I made it myself. During that time, I also got pregnant with my first child. And when we had her, I was just so cognitive of everything that we were putting on her skin, that first time mom thing, you're just freaking out about it.
Dads are like that too. Like that mom, probably not quite as much as moms, but dads are like that too.
Yeah. Well, I can remember my husband coming home and I was sitting in the kitchen, just whipping up some butter and stuff. He's like, "What on earth are you doing?" And I was like, "Booty cream for the baby." He's like, "Seriously?" So yeah, that's where it all started, was just kind of like a need that I couldn't find in the marketplace. And so I had the nail salons and used that to kind of as my tester to start selling my retail there. And that's where it kind of exploded. And they started coming to the nail salon for my products versus my services. And that's when we decided to go with our first brick and mortar in New Albany, Mississippi, which is my hometown.
How big is New Albany, Mississippi?
6,200 is the population.
Dude, we're bigger than you. Spearfish, South Dakota is like 12,000 strong. So think about that. Yes, we're like double the size.
We've got the surrounding, counties.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, how big is the surrounding? Like how big is the surrounding area?
I'm not sure. I don't know the number on that, honestly.
Do you have a big city? What's the nearest big city?
Tupelo, Mississippi.
How big is Tupelo?
Tupelo is about 85,000.
Nice. And do you have so small town, that's where you had your nail salon, right? Mm-hmm. And then did you like close down, sell the nail salon, or did
I had the nail salons in Tupelo and Oxford, which were the bigger cities that were outside of New Albany. But I did close them down and just moved everything into New Albany and just started focusing full force on Magnolia Soap and Bath Company. Okay.
When did you realize you wanted to franchise it?
Well, honestly, when I decided to start franchising, it was by fate. I had a guy that was, he had actually been looking at our competition and they had sold all their territories. And so he came to me basically begging me, and at this point, I'm opening my third location in Jackson, Mississippi. And he just kept calling me and was relentless in calling me. "Hey, let me open one of your stores here. Let me do one of your stores here in Memphis." And I was like, "No, I don't even have time to think about that. Like, there's no way I'm going to do this." And so I always call Dean. He's my OG, but he is the one that got me into franchising. So as soon as I got home and, got that store opened, I was like, let me just look at what that looks like. And so from there, from Dean inquiring about it, we opened our first one, first franchise store. So
you had like 3 locations, been doing it for a little bit. Somebody just kept saying, "Hey, I want to be a franchisee. I want to be a franchisee." And by the way, most of the time when that happens, they never do anything. So he actually became a franchisee.
He did. Absolutely.
And then, so there's a lot of people out there that listen to the podcast and like, I have an idea. People keep telling me I should franchise my thing, or maybe they are beginning of franchising. What was the next step? You get home, you Google, how do I start a franchise? And you can hire a consultant, you can hire an attorney. There's so many different ways that you can do it. You can go on the cheap, you can go really expensive. Sometimes they're the same type of quality. Like, what did you do? Like practically to become a franchisor, what did you do?
So I came home and I just started researching it. My husband is an attorney by trade. And so but that's not his forte. It's kind of like, doctors, like you don't have the best eye surgeon and the best plastic surgeon. So they're a master of one thing, and franchising was not his, but so he connected me with somebody that he knew. And we just kind of started talking to a firm locally. One thing I did learn was that make sure you are hiring a franchise attorney, because this is one of the biggest mistakes I made, was hiring, just somebody that thought they specialized in franchising and they didn't.
So listen to that. Like everyone listening, this is so important. Like whether you're a buyer, a franchise buyer, and you want someone to review the franchise agreement before you sign it, don't, go to your real estate attorney or your litigation attorney or whatever attorney it is. Make sure they're a franchise attorney. And if you're going to start a franchise as a franchisor, like do some research, get into the Facebook group. There's been a number of threads in the Facebook group at franchisesecretsgroup.com. Like that takes you right to the Facebook group, and you can see some of the attorneys that different people recommend. So that's some good advice there. So you had the wrong attorney, you got the right attorney, and you got your FDD, and like you were ready for your first franchisee right away, I take it.
Well, no, it was not right away by any means. It was a good 8 to 9 months of just going back and forth. So there goes with the bad attorney stuff. Had I had somebody that specialized in this, I felt like it could have been a lot quicker and we could have moved a lot sooner. But it did take a while for us to go through just getting a simple draft FDD and then lining up your trademarks and things like that. So it was a process, but he got open and he's on a FTD now. So.
All right. So then how did you get your first franchisees? Because there's a lot of brands out there that they're trying to get their first franchisee, or maybe they're trying to, just grow. And you've had really strong growth for like not really doing anything that some of these franchisors that are super aggressive are trying to do. So you've just kind of grown organically. What it reminds me of is Sola Salon Studio. So Sola was one of the favorite brands that I've owned as a franchisee. And we took that brand from 0 locations to 12 locations as franchisees in Orange County and in a 5-year period. And then we had an 8-figure exit with me and my 3 other business partners. So that was one of my favorite brands. What I liked about it is kind of like what you are. They had about 30 open locations. So they had good validation, people that have been around with the founders, and the founders were super active in the business at that time. And you could really, understand the culture and just understand the brand. So it wasn't a brand new franchise. It was a brand that had been around for a number of years, had a number of different franchisees in there, different parts of the country. And so as new franchisees there, we could validate that. And they had some information, item 19, and then that brand just exploded. I kind of see you guys in a similar spot where everything's been organic and just, friends and family or customers coming in, and you have a good amount of locations open up right now over the last number of years. I'm sure you've had learnings along the way, but now you're really ready to rocket ship it if you wanted to. So that's what this kind of reminds me of. So what are some of the best things that you've enjoyed about slower, stable, strong, organic growth, meaning bringing in, a handful of franchisees every year?
Yeah, so we really love that our first ones are just diehard brand fans. I mean, they live and breathe the brand. They came to me about it again. I never posted any like franchise opportunities or anything like that. It was genuinely these guys or girls that were in love with the brand, saw what I was doing through my social media, saw how our culture when they walked in the doors, and that's just one thing that just is contagious. And we were able to rapidly grow with people that were like-minded and wanted to do this with a passion. So that's what I loved about the organic side of this, is that it was a lot of passion driven. So that was great for us as we were growing and learning new things, because we were able to, it seems like everybody was so interested in making sure that the brand was protected and the brand grew in the right way, and that we were doing things the right way, and that our culture was preserved. And so we were able to that just transitioned out in such an organic way. And again, that's why when people would visit our store, they would say, I want to be a part of this. I mean, how can I be a part of this?
So here's the deal with the Franchise Tribe Mastermind. It's full of a bunch of successful franchisees across many different industries, many different brands, and you get to be a part of that. Now, if you've had any level of success in franchising, you've probably been around top performing Z's in your current brand. So think about that. And if you could do that with 40 plus different brands, industries, franchisees, that's the value in the mastermind. I bring in some of the best speakers in the world. We talk about some topics that will never be talked about anywhere else. So if you're interested in being a part of a group like that, check out franchisetribe.com. What's the culture like? If we were to ask franchisees or corporate team, like what would they say the culture of Magnolia is like?
Well, we're very hands-on. We talk about everything. I mean, that's one thing about the beauty of a smaller emerging brand is that we're all in this together and growing together. So if there's a situation that comes up, we're able to collaborate and figure out what's the best solution for this moving forward. When we were doing our growth, it was right in the middle of COVID. So we were running into my best selling product is my laundry soap, and I couldn't even get containers. And so we were just working together, all finding, different distributors and just work. We did everything together, and they grew and did it along with us. And so the culture is very collaborative, very, very leadership driven. We do leadership programs. We have a leadership conference every year. We've got calls on Mondays and Tuesdays with, right now we're doing Corey Lee, which is a James Maxwell leadership program. And then we're also doing a Grant Cardone leadership program. So it's very much so like empowering you to be the best at your business and be a better business owner and overall just a better person.
I like that. I like that you did that even without much coaching or help or any coaching or help. Like you were investing in your franchisees through John Maxwell leadership stuff, through Grant Cardone, and that's probably more sales training. So Grant's amazing at sales. Like he's 10X, it's Grant Cardone. He's got really good sales training, whether you love him or hate him. And I have dear friends of mine that know him very well. And the guy is a genius when it comes to a lot of this promotion and marketing and getting deals done, quite frankly. So I like that. I like that you're doing that with your franchisees. What are some of the things that that mistakes that you made early on, or maybe some of the things that you're like, oh, I learned this and we're changing the way that we do it because I learned this from a franchisee or I learned this in my own store? Anything, learnings along the way?
I mean, the biggest learnings, like I said, were making sure that you got the right things in place on the back end. So our whole legal thing with not having the franchise attorneys, I mean, we're still kind of cleaning up a little bit of that right now. And so that was like a huge, I thought, and I'd spent a bunch of money thinking I was, putting my money in the right place, and come to find out they had not done the things that we needed to do. So we're cleaning up a lot of that.
I think that's important because when you make some of these mistakes early on, as simple as, and that was the very beginning, like your first thing that you do is hire an attorney or hire a consultant to help you with that. It is not the most difficult thing putting together a boilerplate franchise disclosure document. It's another thing to put together a super robust FDD, but a boilerplate franchise disclosure document that is good enough is not that difficult for the right person. You could probably spend about $30,000 and have it done in a fairly short period of time, and then you can always improve on it after that. And $30,000 was like, you can get a lot done for that beyond the franchise disclosure document. So it's interesting when you start to see things that slow you down and continue to slow you down. If you make the right decisions, hire the right person, the right consultant, the right advisor, the right vendor, if you realize you got the right one, your growth is just like a train. It just keeps moving forward. If you get the wrong one, it can just really set you back. And I hear it way too often. People are getting the wrong ones. And that's what we talk about in the mastermind. Like, you're in the mastermind with me and we talk about this, and I get messages from you and other members like, hey, Erik, what do you know about this? What do you know about that? And I swear I've saved people so much headache because they're about ready to get involved with a group that they thought was amazing when all of the industry people know that they are anything but amazing. It's like, you don't really want to be involved with this one because of X, Y, and Z, or just be aware of this. So I never like to tell people like, don't do this, but I like to like open up their eyes to be like, ask about this. This is what the industry says, or this is what, this is what you should really be looking at with these different types of vendors. So one of the things I've appreciated about you from one of the very first times, like you were one of the first ones to join the franchisor mastermind, and you're like, I'm in. And then a couple months later, you're like, hey, I'm thinking about going to this other coaching thing and learning there. And I know this other person. And I was like, go for it. Like, go for it, because like you are hungry to learn. And that's in franchising. Like, franchisees should learn from all kinds of different people and not just get a part of one mastermind or one coaching program or whatever. Like, get out there and learn. But where did you get that? Like, where did that come from, that just desire to get around people that are further ahead than you?
I would say just, I don't know, growing up, I've always had influential people in my life, and I always look to that next person. Like, what are they doing to get there? How did he do this? How did he go from, one business to 10 businesses? And what, I just want to be surrounded by, wise counsel. I always want to know, what are you doing that's making you a better person? And that was one of the main things that led me to you, was that, I had a really, at the time, I thought was a great deal on the plate with this guy that was coming in to wanting to advise me and help grow my business. But at the end of the day, he's walking out with 90% and I had 10%, and I didn't feel good about it at all. And so that's when I reached out to you initially, like, hey, take a look at this. What do you think what do you think about this? And you're like, I've never even heard of this guy. Like, what do we do? Like, no. And so that's what led me to realize, and I didn't know enough to be, doing what I'm to grow in this like I want to grow it, because I didn't have the right people in place. I didn't have the right knowledge. And so like just literally diving into wiser knowledge daily has improved our mindset, our business, our culture so much. And that's the reason I'm so adamant about this leadership that we have within our company, is just because, it's your mindset and learning more and wanting to be positive, and all of that goes so much farther than a college degree or anything like that. Like, you just got to have that hustle to want to be better and want to do more each day. And that's surrounding yourself with wiser people.
When we were talking, as I heard you say that, you're like, I've always had wiser people or mentors. Like, who's been an influential mentor in your life? Maybe it was childhood growing up, or, more recently, like who is a person that has been like instrumental, or maybe like life changing or direction changing? Anybody come to mind?
Yeah, I would say my grandfather was that person. Everybody laughs that say that we're so much alike, because we're always thinking about what's next. What can we do next? And how can we grow this bigger? How can we do something different? And he had, gas service stations. He lived in the Mississippi Delta. So there was just not a lot for him to do, but, he was always thinking about what's next. And so I feel like he's one of the most influential people in my life as far as pushing me to just keep going. I can remember whenever I wanted to drop out of college, because my family's like, you're going to college, you're getting a degree, that's what you got to do, because that's what we were told to do. And I went to my granddad and I was like, I don't want to do college. I want to start making money. Like, I'm going to go to hair school. I'm going to have my own salon. Like, and he paid for it. He's like, sure, that's what you want to do. Let's do that. And so he was just always the person that was kind of like, in the back of my ear, cheering me on.
Did he ever caution you on something? So cheering you on, did he ever caution you on something that you remember?
Unfortunately, he passed away before I came into all of this come into fruition. Literally, he passed away 7 years ago. And so he didn't get to see any of this. And that's one of my biggest things is like, I know he's looking down, but like, I wish he could see what we've done, because it all started with him just pushing me like, okay, you don't have to go the career path that that you've been told to go. Let's try this way. If that's what you think that would make you the happiest and make you grow, like, let's do that.
Love it. let's talk about the inside of a Magnolia store with the staff. Like, who works there?
So
Who is
in
that person?
my corporate locations, I have a manager and one other employee. So it's very, very, you don't have to have a lot to run these stores. My manager's there 40 hours a week. And then we usually have a part-time girl that comes in and helps either half a day or for closing.
Do like work, the work itself, from what I understand, like they enjoy it. It's not work like, oh, I have to go into work. It's like, it's not super stressful. It's fun. People are enjoying it in there. There's interaction with the customers. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm guessing, but give me some sense of that.
Oh yeah, my girls that are with me. I mean, I've got management that's been with me since the beginning. They come in here, and if you can just kind of imagine in your head, like when you were going to the mountains and you could see like the taffy in the window just kind of rolling, and everybody's hands-on, but you're hanging out with the customer. That's exactly the experience that I wanted to bring to Magnolia, was that when you look in our windows, you see us pouring soap or making a bath bomb. And if your child's with you, we're going to grab her and put her on the bar with us and let her make one with us, and just really bring them into what we're doing, and also show the transparency in our ingredients. Our ingredients are plant-based. They're going to be very good for your skin. They're not going to be loaded with extra harsh chemicals. They're not going to have any of the dyes. And we show you all that because we're making it right in front of you.
So talk about bath bombs. You sent some to my girls, and you caused some fights in the Van Horn house. My daughters 8, 10, and 12. Like, there was one, was it the rainbow? Oh no, confetti. You're like, birthday party. And all of a sudden it's like, there was fights over, maybe it was one extra one, or maybe there was one of those, and they're like, all of a sudden that was like the one that they all needed. But when the heck is a bath bomb? I sit in the hot tub. I don't take baths. I shower. But like, what's a bath bomb?
Oh, you're missing out on life. You need to warm up a hot bath and drop a bath bomb in, and it's amazing. No, these bath bombs were created. My daughter has eczema, and that's just usually inflamed by, super cold weather or even super hot weather. Because if we're at the lake, she has eczema flares. And so I power packed these bath bombs with all the oils that always soothed her skin. And that was cocoa butter, shea butter, and olive oil. And so when you drop these bath bombs into the water, it's not going to do all the crazy fun colors, because those are dyes and those are not great for your skin. But it is going to basically turn your bath into a hot oil bath. And in doing that, you're hydrating your skin. And then, like my daughter, who does, it was a fight when she'd have a little breakout, it's a fight to get her in the bathtub. But that bath bomb would instantly soothe her little skin, and it makes your skin so buttery soft.
All right. Now I might have to try one.
You've got to try one. And we have good scents, so you don't have to smell.
What's the most manly bath bomb that you have?
I can do any. That's another beauty of Magnolia soap, is everything is customizable. So if you have a smell that you like, I can make it in a bath bomb.
Attention franchisors, if you are not bringing in many of the right franchisees, sales are slow. It's stealing too much of your time as a founder trying to award franchises to the right franchisee. There's a better way to do it. That's why I started the Franchise Sales Mentor. If you want to have access to the information, the techniques, the ways that the best franchise sales organizations are awarding franchisees, then you might want to check out the Franchise Sales Mentor. The reasons that franchisors join is because they want access. They want access to my Rolodex. They want access to my connections. They want access to shortcut both short-term and long-term success to increase enterprise value to their brand. Man, well, we might have to make one that is for, something that I could use. Okay. Family. Now, when I follow, like this last summer, it's been so fun watching you all over social media. You guys are always doing fun stuff with the family, and you and your husband and your kids, and like we connect. I had a Taiga boat, surf boat. You have a Taiga. I changed boats 2 years ago, got a bigger one, but not as nice as a Taiga. Still in the same family. It's an ATX, but not not as nice, but like, what do you do when you're not working?
Yeah, so our family loves the lake. I mean, if you can honestly, if you could pack my husband up right now, that's where he'd spend our entire life, would be at the lake on the water, even in 30-degree weather, just because that's his happy place. But we love traveling and just being together as a family. I mean, as anyone knows that's an entrepreneur, that's coveted time. That's time where I had to learn as a mom. I had to cut myself off at a certain time because it was getting to the point where I was all consumed in Magnolia Soap. I would come home, I'm on my phone. I would be, working on marketing. And that's also, as an emerging brand, wearing a lot of the hats, the role that I had to carry. But as I've gotten longer into this, it's just put the phone down and engage in your children. They're only little once, and we just love spending time together and traveling. They love Disney World. They love going to the beach, and they love, all those things. So that's just what we're putting all of our time and energy into.
Speaking of Disney World, I head there in a couple days. We're going to be there over Thanksgiving break. The girls don't know about it yet, so it's going to be a full-on surprise. We're going to tell them on the way to the airport. I'm going to Austin soon. They're going to Hawaii for 10 days. But we're doing a Disney World trip together. And so they think they're all packed up, getting ready for Hawaii early, but they're really getting packed up for Disney World. So that'll be fun. I'll send you a video of it when we tell them at 5 a.m. when we're on the way to the airport. How old are your kids?
7 and 3.
And talk about the challenges. Like, let's go deeper into the challenges of being mom and being a rock star entrepreneur. I just go deeper into that, because that's something that I struggle with at different times, whether it's me working on my health, working on fitness, working on just being a better dad, a better husband. And a lot of it is time. Like, it's where you look at your calendar and you can see how good you're doing in all of these different areas. And I'm getting better and better at giving the appropriate amount of time and focus time to each of those like kind of categories. But how do you juggle it? How do you focus on it? Like, what are some of the things that you've gotten better at, and maybe some of the things that you still are working on?
Yeah, it's definitely a juggle, and it's important to have, a strong support system. I mean, luckily I've got a grandmother, my 82-year-old grandmother, who's very much part of my 3-year-old's life every single day. I swear she talks like a little lady. And it's just because she's listening to her every day. So if it wasn't for her, I would be in trouble. But, my husband's a part of the business too now. So we're very much, 8 to 5, we're rocking Magnolia, and we're doing everything we can to make this business better. But we literally had to make a cognitive effort to stop it once we got home. And once we're home, it's our kids. And that's who we want to put all of our attention on, helping them with homework. We've got Spirit Week this week, so we're dressing up different days every day. So it's really about the time that you do have with them, making sure that they're the priority, and that they see that, what we're doing is for you. Like, I promise, I know it's upsetting that, mama's always busy or mama's at work, but understand that all of this is for you and the legacy that we're leaving you guys.
It's interesting because I'm similar with my kids, and my wife is so good at just saying, hey, you have no idea how little dad actually works. Because they think like, oh, dad's working again when I work, when I don't really do anything on Mondays or Fridays, they're like, dad's working again. He's leaving at 10 to go work on a Tuesday. We're like, you have no idea what a lot of dads are doing out there and what work means to a lot of families. So it's just the context that they have. So I know you're doing an amazing job, and even just like getting away like you do, going to the lake and different things. I love the lake because I can the phone doesn't work out there very well, which is the best thing. And I love that. All right, let's talk about franchisees. Like, we talked earlier about some of your competition. One of your two main competitors, Lush, corporate owned, I believe, and great locations, very nice high end retail, and then Buff City. Buff City is, a brand that has a bunch of territory sold, some big franchisees, big money behind them. So it just makes me think of like the types of franchisees that are going to be coming into Magnolia Soap. It's the franchisees that have had, uber success with Planet Fitnesses, with Orange Theories, with Crumble Cookies, with, some of these brands they're just, rocket ship brands that have done very well. Now they're looking for their second or third brand. Like I can see Magnolia Soap being perfect for them because there's already a brand out there that's kind of paved the way in some ways. What do you see? Like, what do you see as franchisees? Like who are the franchisees that have come in, and then who are the franchisees that you think might be coming in the next year or two?
Yeah, so we've had like a really weird shift in trajectory for whom we, before, I don't know, even before this summer, it was a lot of, just nurses that were not wanting to be in the nursing profession anymore due to the pandemic, or, moms that decided they're ready to get back into the workforce. And so that was kind of like our target demo, or that's who was coming in, prior to the summer. After the summer, we started taking off a little bit more, getting some traction with some growth. And now we're attracting attention of like Smoothie King operators. We've got one that signed, he's got 13 Smoothie Kings. And then he also has the Qdoba fast restaurant. I can't remember. I think it's Mexican.
Qdoba is great. That's not a small little venture. Qdoba's is a big deal.
So Magnolia is going to be right smack in the middle of that.
I love it.
He's got on there. We've got some Papa John's guys that came in that had Papa John's franchises, and his wife is doing it. So it was kind of like he saw the value in it, and he's going to let his wife wanted to get back to work. So he's kind of overseeing it, and she's running all the stores. We've got some Wingstop guys that are interested. So we're seeing, the kind of play like you're talking about, where they've got, their first big, Planet Fitnesses or whatever, but now they're trickling down into the second brand, and Magnolia's making a blimp on their radar now. So we're excited for that. So I feel like that's going to be kind of who we're going to be getting moving forward as we're growing.
So where did they hear about you? Like Wingstop and Smoothie King and Qdoba, and, where did they hear about you?
They ventured into our stores. All of these guys have been in one of our locations before and kind of saw what was going on and saw it. And then they get on the website and they inquire, and it's a natural, like they walked into a store.
That's awesome. And I don't think that's common to have that, level of franchisee interested in a new brand like this that randomly walk into a store. And so I'm excited about the things ahead. Where do you see Magnolia going? Like if you were to look out in the future, what do you see? Whatever time frame that you want to envision, like what do you see?
Yeah, I see us as, growing exponentially in the next 3 to 5 years for sure. And that can be, I always reference, the Walmart and the Dollar Generals. Like I want to be the Dollar Generals. I want to be in all these towns. That's just, this smaller suburbans kind of like our bread and butter, but the big towns work too. But I see us growing fast. I see us with, the help and the strategic advisors we have involved now. Just limitless, hundreds of Magnolia soaps all over the United States.
Well, full disclosure, my one of my businesses is Front Street Equity Partners. We are partners with Magnolia. And so it's fun. It's recent, it's fun. And it's going to be fun to see where this brand goes. But you're at this point where, like I was mentioning, solo salons earlier, and they started to attract Panera Bread franchisees and like people like me, and that franchisees that were in my world. And so when other franchisees of good brands start looking at a brand like Sola, like Magnolia, there's usually really good things ahead in the future for that brand. So I'm so excited to be a part of it. Any last bits of wisdom, thoughts, comments that you would have for maybe people that are looking at buying a franchise, or franchisors that are thinking about getting started as a franchisor? Any last bits of wisdom?
Yeah, just do your due diligence, make sure it's the right decision and the right fit for you and your family and your your long-term goals. If you're a new franchisor, make sure you're getting the right people involved initially. Don't make the mistakes. You don't have to make the mistakes. There's groups like this that literally lay it out there for you as a playbook, and don't make those costly decisions, because I can promise you it's in the tunes of 100,000s that I've made wrong decisions. And so, yeah.
And that's the cheap part. The 100,000 is the cheap part. It's the opportunity cost that is the expensive part.
Right. So it's just this surrounding yourself with the right people and getting, just getting yourself in your group. And that, I mean, I don't know if any other brands do this, but, I have my franchise consultant as a part of all of my little mastermind things that I'm doing, because I'm wanting her to grow and see and be a part of the culture that I'm trying to create. And that involves including her in a lot of these discussions. I mean, there's some things that are not, for topic for her, but, just investing in your people, investing in those people that are definitely going to be the face of your business.
That's a great point, because you bring in, your key people into the mastermind meetings, and we talk about some high level stuff and private equity. And we had one today, investment bankers, private equity, how to grow the team, mistakes that were made from a guy that's had amazing exits in franchising. But your key team members are always on there and listening and learning. And so that's a huge thing. And I love how you lead by letting your team join some meetings like that. So, well, Magen, it's been so fun. It's been fun getting to know you over the last almost year, and I'm looking forward to seeing where we are next year. We're going to do, you get back with me. We're going to do where we are a year from today. We'll do podcast episode number 2 with you, and we'll see what's changed between now and then. Does that sound good?
I'm excited because it's going to be crazy.
Thanks for coming on.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Franchise Secrets Podcast. Whether you're watching or listening, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to whatever channel you're listening on. If you want my help with anything from buying a franchise to franchising your business, please visit franchisesecrets.com.